Welcome, my name's Double, and this is a Combat Mission Fortress Italy After Action Report. It's a quick battle between myself and Stephen5545, a fellow member of the Few Good Men wargaming community. I'm commanding the Allies, and Stephen is commanding the Axis forces. It's a meeting engagement with 5 objectives, with the Allies springing off from the east and the Axis forces starting from the west. The terrain is typical Italy, with a mix of open fields and low hedges, and with brush and vineyards providing further cover. The main elevation is centred around the village area and the 3 objectives, which offers good line of sight and hard cover in the buildings and low walls. My opponent has a river to cross and a more open route to the objectives. So my plan? Once again I've decided to make a very aggressive start, with this high ground on the right flank being one of my primary objectives. It has good line of sight, some hard cover and also some good brush and soft concealment. I intend to put at least 1 HMG up here, possibly 2, with further light mortar support. This location also has a good line of sight to my opponent's closest objective. It has a good overview of the village, so I can quickly and easily move my forces from my right to my left flank, or if necessary I can attack from my right flank, rolling across from right to left of the village. My second objective is this small group of buildings on the left side of the village, and to provide support for my forces on my left flank I'm going to use this high ground at this copse of trees to place some HMGs. It has excellent line of sight down the entire length of my left flank, and it should be a good position to support my advance and my objectives. My forces are the Wessex 4-3 Brigade, part of 8th Army. I have 5 infantry companies, A Company under command of Major Hawkins. It's January, so you can see my forces are wearing greatcoats. B Company under command of Major Gray. C Company Major Burnett, D Company Major Forsyth, and the Support Company under command of Major Simmons. It's a British force, so they're equipped mostly with Lee Enfield rifles, 303 caliber, and 1 Bren, again 303 caliber, per section. Battalion HQ, in overall command, is Lieutenant Colonel Douglas. So I've worked through my forces and identified my plan, so let's kick off. I don't want to have to fight for the objectives at range, so I work to try and get my troops there as quickly as possible. I want to push them as hard as I can but not tire them out, so I use the tactic of yomping them to the objective. On the right flank I'm pushing up D Company and the Support Company, and an off-map mortar barrage that I'd called in I actually set with the wrong timing. Whilst it won't cause any casualties, I'll let it fall because it denies that space to my opponent. On the left flank I have B Company. And in the centre I'm pushing up A Company with C Company in reserve in the rear. In the centre, as the objective comes into view, I start to leapfrog my sections.
Hello, check fire, end of mission, out.
With still no sightings by any of the companies, I continue to push D Company and the support company hard up the right flank towards that objective of the high ground on the right side of the village. I also leave some of the medium mortars from the support company in the background in order to provide indirect fire support. On my left flank, B Company starts to come to the outskirts of the village, still no sightings. So I continue to push my sections hard towards the objective and into the village. I had anticipated sighting or potentially even engaging some forward scouts, but nothing so far. Looks like the village is empty.
Alright, move it, let's go!
On my right flank, I start to get my first boots onto my right objective. And on my left flank, as I bring the rest of B Company up, I start to get some sightings and some contact.
Hello, fire mission, out.
It's maybe 500 metres out, so it looks like the Wehrmacht forces have taken a far more cautious approach than I have. On the right flank we start to get some sightings, quickly followed with full contact.
Taking fire!
I'm still bringing sections up, but I order the troops that I have there to engage. The engagement appears to be quickly escalating as I get more sightings and more contacts. On my right flank it looks like the Wehrmacht are setting up a fire base in the trees and attacking from the river. I continue to bring forces up on my right flank in order to reinforce the high ground, and I want to ensure I've got A Company as far forward and entrenched as I possibly can. On my left flank I'm pushing forward B Company towards the small group of 3 houses, which was my left flank objective. Meanwhile it looks like my opponent is trying to set up a fire base in the tree line, laying down smoke and bringing up an attacking force. I failed to spot the early signs of a barrage from my opponent. My troops look for cover. and it's a costly mistake. I fortify a platoon on the left flank as the battle for the 3 farmhouses starts to escalate. There seems to be quite a sizable force on the tree line. Looks like a minimum of a company. On my left flank, troops start to pour through the smoke, heading towards the low brush in front of the objective, the sort of 3 farmhouse objective that I'm currently holding. The brick buildings are easily fortified, and my forces quickly repel the attack. It's not all going my way though. Stephen quickly starts to suppress my troops on the left flank, pinning down the sections in the brick buildings. It's an intense firefight. From my perspective, neither side is gaining fire superiority. I've fully deployed A, B and D company, and I'm utilising all the assets of the support company, including the HMG Vickers, which I've deployed on the high ground on my left flank. On my right flank, the heavy fighting continues for the high ground. I'm taking casualties, whereas the left flank, neither side seems to be gaining fire superiority.
Out.
So we're about 20 minutes into the battle. My troops are firmly entrenched along the right flank, all the way through the village, holding 2 of the main objectives. And then I also have a platoon holding the objective on the left flank, but it's under more pressure and there is not so much fortification there. Stephen has the 4th objective on the left side of the map, and he's also pushing my left flank hard. Looks like he's looking to push his forces up through the middle. I have platoons from A company securing various buildings on the road up to the crossroads through the centre, and I'm also using indirect mortar fire. Stephen is pushing a heavy force up the road, and the fighting is fierce. I definitely have the advantage with my troops stationed in the brick buildings. And the Wehrmacht are going to have to do something pretty exceptional in order to break my defence.
Fire. Out.
On my left flank, my opponent has managed to push his forces right up to the 3 farmhouses. He doesn't have clear fire superiority. Despite heavy losses, 1 and 2 section, 6 platoon, putting up a valiant defence. In the centre, fierce fighting continues, with A Company halting the Germans' immediate advance. And despite the heavy forces that my opponent has thrown at me, there's just no way the Wehrmacht are going to break my defences. And soon after, the Wehrmacht surrender, and Stephen concedes defeat. So the German army have lost around 1/3 of their forces, and I've lost about 10%. With the surrender, I've achieved all of the objectives, and so a full victory points. It was an infantry-only engagement, so no armour losses. And then if we take a quick look at the map, so let's go to my left flank first and look at some of the losses. So he still had a fair number of troops, but you've got quite a lot of the squads and sections with loss of a fire team. Heavy losses here around the hedgerow, with 3, maybe 4 sections completely destroyed. Right of the centre, German forces still had quite a presence, perhaps enough to set up a firebase, but heavy losses on the road leading up to the objective in the village. The Wehrmacht's advance on my right flank was also costly. And if we look through at my troops, looking at the HMGs and some of the sections in A Company, and then looking at B Company, okay, seems like B Company inflicted most of the casualties on the left there. Direct mortar fire once again proving its effectiveness. And then my 2 HMGs up there on the left flank. A Company, despite the loss of Major Hawkins, who was in command, Captain Harris took over and he did well. I'd like to say thank you to Stephen5545 for the battle. I personally do enjoy the full infantry engagements. I hope you did too, and if you did enjoy the video, please subscribe. I do have more battles ongoing, and I hope to be able to turn them into video very soon. Goodbye all.